A 12-year curse haunting a footballing powerhouse. An early upset that literally silenced a packed stadium against the run of play. And a 94th-minute thriller that didn't just break hearts, but actually rewrote the global record books.
Yeah, this wasn't just your average group stage clash. This was a tactical masterclass, a story of unbelievable frustration, and honestly, the birth of the ultimate tournament super sub.
To Soccer Prime tonight, let's dive straight into one of the most unforgettable football stories of the tournament.
Now, to truly grasp the gravity of this match, you have to feel the emotional stakes here. Ever since lifting that trophy back in 2014, Germany has been trapped in this 12-year World Cup nightmare, stumbling in the group stages, struggling to find that clinical edge, and carrying the suffocating pressure of a nation that absolutely demands perfection. So coming into Group E, the tension was just palpable. Could this squad finally break the curse, or were they doomed to another early, agonizing exit?
The stage for all this drama? Toronto Stadium, Canada. 43,036 fans packing the stands to absolute capacity. The atmosphere was literally cinematic. You had the electric energy of the Ivory Coast supporters colliding right up against the desperate, hopeful chants of the German fans. Group E was resting on a total knife's edge, and every single person inside that stadium knew the next 90 minutes would dictate the entire narrative of their tournament.
Right, let's break down the tactical battle lines that were drawn up before a ball was even kicked. Julian Nagelsmann rolled out a position-heavy 4-2-3-1 for Germany. He deployed Felix Emeka and Alexander Pavlovic as the double pivot, with Jamal Musiala and Florian Wirtz operating in those advanced half spaces, specifically to feed Kai Havertz. On the flip side, Emers Can set up Ivory Coast in a really dynamic 4-3-3. He was banking on the immense physical presence of Franck Kessié and Ibrahim Sangare in the midfield, looking to strike with just blistering pace on the wings through Amad Diallo.
And early on, we saw this fascinating clash of styles. Germany came out really wanting to execute their signature fluid passing, trying to pull the opposition out of position. But Ivory Coast, they dropped into an incredibly disciplined defensive block. They completely congested those central channels. Every single time Musiala or Wirtz tried to turn between the lines, they were instantly swarmed. So Ivory Coast's central defense completely neutralized Germany's early possession, basically forcing them out wide into harmless areas.
And that exact tactical frustration set the stage for absolute shock in the 30th minute, because, completely against the run of play, Ivory Coast finds an opening. Franck Kessié, the captain, the absolute heartbeat of this team, finds himself in the exact right place at the exact right time and just smashes the ball home from close range, 1-0 to Ivory Coast. And the German fans in Toronto are stunned into total silence. Suddenly, the ghosts of the last 12 years are staring Germany right in the face.
So you look at the halftime stats, and they actually paint a pretty deceiving picture. Germany held 60% of the possession to Ivory Coast's 40%. But, as we all know, possession without penetration is pretty much useless. Ivory Coast's 40% was actually far more effective. They were perfectly happy to just absorb the pressure, sit tightly in their structure, and capitalize on these lightning-fast moments of transition. They basically set a possession trap, and in that first half, Germany walked right into it.
Well, as the second half kicked off, Germany's desperation definitely reached a boiling point. They were throwing literally everything forward, but it felt like the universe was conspiring against them. Not once, but twice, they actually had the ball in the back of the net. First Nimcha, then Musiala. The celebrations erupt, only to be immediately choked out by the referee's whistle. 2 goals disallowed for fouls in the buildup. You could practically see the frustration mounting on the faces of those German players. The tension was just suffocating.
And this right here is exactly where top-tier managers earn their paychecks. Down a goal, watching his team's frustration peak, Julian Nagelsmann drops a tactical nuke on the match. 60th minute, he makes a highly aggressive triple substitution. He brings on Leroy Sané for pure width and pace, Nadia Mameri into the midfield to change up the passing angles, and crucially, he pulls Musiala and brings on striker Deniz Undav. Nagelsmann completely changes the geometry of the pitch, shifting the momentum in an instant.
It took precisely 8 minutes for that managerial gamble to pay off, and man, did it pay off in spectacular fashion. 68th minute. Substitute Nadim Amiri whips a really dangerous cross into the box. It sails right over Kai Havertz, but tracking the flight of the ball perfectly is the other substitute, Deniz Undav. He watches it drop and strikes this beautiful volley right past Yaya Fofana into the back of the net. 1-1. The explosion of relief from the German bench was just unbelievable. The momentum had entirely shifted, and the analytics absolutely back this up. Germany climbs to 1.89 expected goals compared to Ivory Coast's 1.22. But the real story here is in the final third entries. Once Nagelsmann made those subs, Germany's attack became relentless. They registered a staggering 33 touches inside the opposition penalty box compared to Ivory Coast's 22. They were suffocating the Ivorians, pinning them deep and creating really high-quality chances.
But as we entered the dying moments of the match, the drama was far from over. 90th minute, Nathaniel Brown hits a vicious, low-driven shot that looks totally destined for the bottom corner. But Fofana makes a brilliant, sprawling save to keep Ivory Coast alive. Then, the fourth official's board goes up. 6 minutes of added time. 6 minutes for someone to step up and become a hero. 6 minutes before Germany faces massive, massive questions about their ability to close out games. 94th minute, the final act. Felix Unmecha, showing incredible composure with the clock ticking down, drills a sharp, precise pass just inside the penalty area. Waiting right there is Deniz Undav. With absolute ice in his veins, Undav takes one flawless touch to turn his defender, opens up his body, and unleashes a thunderous left-footed strike. It hits the back of the net. Total euphoria. The stadium erupts, the German bench clears, and Undav completes a miraculous comeback in the dying breath of the match. And to truly appreciate the brilliance of that 94th minute winner, you have to understand just how difficult that shot actually was. The expected goals value of Undav's final strike was just 0.35. I mean, this was not a tap-in. Taking the ball with your back to the goal in the 94th minute, turning under immense physical pressure from the center backs, and striking it cleanly with your weaker foot, that is an incredibly difficult finish. Undav turned a 35% probability into a 100% flawless match-winning moment. Which naturally brings us to our player's spotlight. What Deniz Undav is doing at this tournament completely defies logic. He comes on for 30 minutes, scores 2 goals, and earns an 8.7 match rating. But let's zoom out for a second. Across his appearances so far, Undav has registered 5 World Cup goal contributions in just 56 total minutes of football played. That is a goal or an assist essentially every 11 minutes he is on the pitch. He has totally cemented himself as the ultimate tactical super sub in modern football.
Section 16, the aftermath, records broken, and tournament consequences.
When the final whistle finally blew in Toronto, the celebrations were wild. But the aftermath of this 2-1 victory carries a historical weight that goes far, far beyond just getting 3 points in the group stage. The single match altered the entire trajectory of the tournament for both nations, and it shattered a record that has stood for decades in international football.
Yeah, let's talk about football royalty for a second. With Undav's second goal, Germany officially reached 239 total goals in World Cup history. Let that sink in. 239. With that strike, they officially passed Brazil to become the all-time top-scoring nation in the history of the FIFA World Cup. It is a massive historic milestone, and they achieved it in the most dramatic fashion possible, deep into stoppage time.
The immediate tournament consequences have also completely crystallized the Group E standings. With 6 points from 2 matches, Germany is safely through to the round of 32. That 12-year group stage curse is officially broken. But for Ivory Coast, the heartbreak of that 94th minute goal leaves them stranded on 3 points. They now face a terrifying do-or-die scenario in their final match against Curaçao, knowing they might need a massive result just to survive. So, we leave you with the biggest question in world football right now. Does Julian Nagelsmann reward Deniz Undav by unleashing him in the starting 11 next time out? Or, knowing you have a weapon that literally guarantees a goal every 11 minutes off the bench, do you keep him as the ultimate tournament super sub? It's a fantastic headache for the German manager to have, for sure. We'll find out soon enough as the knockout stages approach. Thanks for joining us for this explainer. We'll see you in the next football story, right here on Soccer Prime Tonight.